Microsoft announced the Xbox Series X is officially coming out the month of November, but it's going to miss their flagship franchise to go with it, Halo Infinite. 343 Industries studio head Chris Lee wrote an announcement explaining the delay. So now what happens to the Xbox Series X launch? I mean, it's obvious it's going to struggle, but it's not because it won't have this one game that was going to sell the console in droves. It's because it won't have this one game that was going to represent everything Microsoft is trying to achieve with the Xbox Series X. We typically understand major first-party games that are associated with console launches as the game that's going to sell the console, right? Like imagine Super Mario 64 not launching with the N64. That would have impacted sales of the Nintendo 64 at the beginning. This is how we've been thinking about Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is without question the flagship Xbox game. So what better way to launch your next console than with a game that represents everything you're trying to demonstrate about the Xbox Series X and the Xbox ecosystem. Halo Infinite takes advantage of the Xbox Series X strengths it's supposed to. It makes use of smart delivery. It can be found on Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. It can be played through xCloud and is a first-party Xbox game. What Microsoft was looking to achieve with Halo Infinite was way more than console sales. Let's just say Halo Infinite was ready, the Xbox Series X launch comes in November, and Microsoft could have been able to say, this is Halo Infinite and the Xbox Series X. And everything I just mentioned applies. This is Xbox. It's the perfect representation of Microsoft's vision for the Series X. Nintendo did the same thing with Super Mario 64. They took their flagship game franchise and made sure that it was ready to launch with the Nintendo 64 so that you understood this was the future of Nintendo. Your favorite Nintendo games in 3D. And that's what makes this delay for Microsoft so hard, because now Microsoft has nothing at launch that truly represents everything they're trying to accomplish. And now that vision is harder to execute and put in people's minds. Forza is a ways off. Fable is likely even further away. There's Hellblade 2, but that isn't as big as Halo, no disrespect to Hellblade. And there's Scorn, but that's not a franchise as established as Halo. And so by the time Halo Infinite launches, Microsoft is already going to be closer to the time when they're going to launch exclusively to the Series X. Yes, of course, Fable fans will buy Fable. Halo fans will buy Halo Infinite, but the window for Microsoft to grab brand new people or anyone on the fence would be closer to closing by the time Halo Infinite comes out. And yes, that ultimately does convert to less console sales, absolutely. But for Microsoft, getting people into the ecosystem is more important. And if people don't understand the value of that ecosystem, it's harder to get them into it. Halo Infinite was going to be that all-encompassing explanation. That's not there anymore. And that is what's going to make the Series X launch harder for Microsoft. If you enjoyed the video, please tap that thumbs up button. And if you're interested in more discussion about gaming news, go ahead and tap the subscribe button on the screen. I'll talk to you later.